Hi, welcome back to another stream. I don't have my traditional audience today, so it's all me, all by myself yet again. We're streaming at 5 a.m. in the morning because my sleep pattern is beautiful. Everything seems to be working at the moment, and I'm sure my computer is going to tell me off as soon as I start trying to do stuff. So I'm going to switch over. I might not have a huge amount to talk about today. I might not waffle that much. If anyone turns up, I'm hoping I can chat to them, but again, no one that I am likely to know. Ta-da! Last week, I said I was going to do some work in between the streams to get some line work done and just get on with the image. I did not, in fact, do any of that. I was distracted. I was busy. So I'm gonna get to work now. Positive note though, I have technically finished my course. I think I mentioned that last week. However, my tutor still hasn't got back to me about any of the work. So yeah, I'm still in limbo with that, and because of that, I can't get on with my other projects particularly effectively, because I want to see this course done and be done with it so that I can move on. Is that so much to ask? I hope not. So I've been looking at some rapier guards, and the design I've got for Raven isn't the simplest, but it still follows some fairly simple principles. And it's still a little bit edgy, a little bit dangerous. So she has the what's it called? I've got them written here. No, I haven't, because what she's got is more of a cup defense thingy, and she doesn't have finger rings. Although I might consider including finger rings. So if I do something like that, and then the guard there, I can hide like a finger ring in there. And then these are the knuckle guards. That's the concept at the very least. And we're all about concept. Yeah, what did I say about the computer telling me off? Laggy and unresponsive. Oh well. And then, see, now that doesn't look right. What did I have in mind a second ago? Let's get rid of that for a minute. So, the idea, that comes along there. If I do it side view, that might help me. She has a very thin blade because she can wield it with incredible precision. She doesn't really need to do much in the way of actual physically blocking physical attacks, melee attacks. She can sidestep, or she can move slightly out the way, deflect it at its base. She doesn't need to put much energy into the redirection of someone else's attack. Okay, so that's the guard. pretty simple. And then the actual knuckle of the loop essentially looks like that. And again, she doesn't need a huge amount. She can use this to sort of push away enemy attacks, enemy swords. Put her foe off balance. Yeah, I think that works. And then we'll do a top-down view. It's less of a rounded and more of a like that. And then that'll come across to the knuckles. Kinda like that. And just need to put in the guard proper. Connect them all up. Easy peasy. I didn't do a huge amount of research into this, to be honest. I watched one video, read one Reddit post, and looked at about 4 websites. Oh, and Google Images. You know, they got really quite ornate on Google Images. Which isn't too surprising. Like the craft of the romantics weapons is honestly beautiful. Okay. I think that does a decent job showcasing that. And I will probably go into a bit more detail when I line it. Which I don't think I'm going to line these right now. I think what I'm going to do is line the main image. Which is why I brought in the colours and why I coloured the pencils. I've said it before, the reason why I colour the pencils blue is to make it easier to see where my line work goes. But I draw in black because that's easier for my brain to see the differentiation of shape. Why didn't that draw? Oh, it's in eraser mode. That's easier. I'll clean up the page in a little bit. Put on weighted. I use weighted because my hand is not very stable. If I try and draw a circle, excuse me, or a line. No, these are not showcasing me very well. Smiley face. And then use weighted. We have a smiley face. Probably go with eyes first. I use the weighted line because I can't draw in a smooth fashion. I've drawn a lot of Raven recently. Yeah, that's right. I remember what I did now. I did a picture of Raven and her siblings, which I really enjoy the outcome of. And I'm hoping that the pair that I'm collaborating with are able to do theirs before long. Mostly because I'm impatient. There was no timeline set, so if they take years, they take years. I'm drawing on the right layer, aren't I? Wonderful. I'm also not recording again because I think that would put too much strain on the computer. And in theory, I should be able to retrieve the recordings from YouTube. I haven't done that yet, and I really should get around to doing that. Just make sure I have a copy somewhere. On the off chance that this gets taken down for any reason. Not that I can imagine a reason. Well, I'm drawing furries. That might be reason enough for some people. But to those people I say, go watch Robin Hood. Which is a film I should watch again anyway. Good film. Speaking of movies, I went to see a Minecraft movie technically yesterday, but oh yeah, and I slept since then as well. So yeah, within the last 24 hours, I saw a Minecraft movie, and my unprofessional verdict is it is a bad movie, but really good fun. So what do I mean by that? I mean, thematically, it's not very strong. The plot isn't particularly complex. Characters aren't very deep. But the animation is fun. Oh, I didn't say the fun part. But it is a really fun movie. Like, really enjoyable. Positive vibes. The animation is fun. The characters are fun, even if they're not complex. The chemistry between them, specifically Jack Black's character and Jason Momoa's. That would be Steve and the Garbage Man. I can't remember his full name. But yeah, their chemistry is great. And I really enjoyed the film. My theatre that I was in was very excited, very excitable. They cheered, they applauded. I think there was a standing ovation at the end. In a cinema. Honestly, I'd not seen that kind of behavior before. So while I do declare it to be a bad movie, it should not be written off. It should be at least given the opportunity. If you don't like Minecraft, don't worry about seeing it. If you don't enjoy kids' films, definitely don't worry about seeing this movie. It's not going to appeal to you. But if you do like Minecraft, if you do like kids' films, then this could be something to enjoy. Certainly seems like the actors enjoyed it. Images of Jack and Jason wearing matching crocheted or knitted cardigans, which was adorable. I'm not going to spoil any of the movie though. There isn't a huge amount to spoil, but I'm not going to spoil it either way. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It is not going in my top 10 movie list. If I'm doing a top 10 movie list, I've got to put something like Pan's Labyrinth in there. Ooh, that's a good movie. And that is not a fun movie. It's important to have both in the world. Good movies and fun movies. And bad movies that aren't funny or fun. I'm waffling now. I don't know, I feel like I need to justify the movie, and I really don't. It justifies itself. But there's a lot of negativity about it. And I watched a video on What Culture. And they had not very nice things to say about it. Comparing it to fantastic video game movies like Sonic and... well, they should have also compared it to... Oh gosh, what's the name of that movie? Okay, I swear it's a good game movie though. But they didn't bring up anything like Resident Evil. The first one was fun. A bit dumb, but enjoyable. And then after that, it got dumber and dumber, less good in terms of movies, and less fun. I don't know how they got away with it. But the guy who did the review admitted he's not into kids' movies. He doesn't play Minecraft. And this movie definitely wasn't for him. Not all movies should be for all people. And there is the argument that kids' movies shouldn't be dumbed down. Kids' movies shouldn't be made to appeal to infants or infantilize. Infantilize? They shouldn't be made... It shouldn't be dumb. And I get that. But not everything has to be complex. Not everything has to be deep and rich. Sometimes you just want to switch your brain off and enjoy the moment. Okay, yeah, I think that was the entire breadth of everything I have to talk about today. And I'm just going to work on lining and chilling and vibing and enjoying the strange taste of copyright-free music. Sheezy Art has released its next monthly challenge, and this one is gonna be a real challenge. Like, they're all challenges, but I mean, like, technically challenging. I haven't read the news post yet properly, but I read a skim view of it. It's gonna be 2 months. That's how long you've got until the deadline, 2 months. And I believe it's an animation-based challenge. So the aim of the game is to make an animation in quite a short time frame, and the reward is huge. And again, I haven't read the news post, so I can't verify what the award is or what the challenge is. I really should do, because I'm going to be promoting it later. But right now, I am certain that I want to try and take part. Like with the Masquerade one, which I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And I don't want to enter to win again, which I probably wouldn't have done with the Masquerade one. The winner of the Masquerade was this gorgeous piece. I think it was like a sheep wearing a wolf mask. I cannot recall the name of the artist, but it was really good. You should have a look. Cheesy.art, and then it's in the second most recent news post from this, like from today. The March Challenge Roundup, I think it's called. And if you're in the art space, if you like to write or if you like to make music, animations, videos, etc., then feel free to join in as well on the challenges. But again, this 2-month period is specific to animation. Apologies there. My dinner, which I had pretty much just before I went to sleep, is trying to remind me what I had. Not gonna lie, not a huge fan of that service. Yeah, I think it's good. Certainly not the most practical piece of metalwork. I imagine it's made in one piece as well. She's my character, so I can say what she does, but I don't imagine that forging this thing is her favorite thing to do. So while she might have picked up some techniques, maybe she learned how to make a rapier. I think she'd prefer to go to a professional. Maybe she knows someone. A long-lived blacksmith. Quite possible, actually. I know Tyler Young has a character, or many, who are blacksmith focused. And I think they have enhanced lives as well. So yeah, they'd be suitable for someone to, for Raven to know and maybe even hang out with sometimes. Raven isn't exactly unsociable. She's just not sociable with certain people. She has biases. I don't know if that's any good. Not the biases part. I think it's important for characters to have biases and flaws. They don't have to reflect my own views. In fact, I rather prefer that they are kept separate from my views, whether they have views similar to mine or not. My views are not represented by my characters, even if I agree with them. I think I need to do these tufts with the using thick lines. Yeah, I think that's the only way to do that. And also to separate the... I don't know what these are called. Little hair strands. Almost like antennae. That would be a fun thing for her to divulge to her opponents. How can a blind girl see, they might ask. She might respond, I have antennae. She'd be lying. We need more villains to lie in media. Whenever a villain is talking about their grand master plan or what their abilities are, what they plan to do, they always seem to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. There's exceptions to the rules, as always, and they almost always start off with subterfuge. But once they're caught, they like, oh, here's my evil plan, here's why I do things, here's my backstory. Doofenshmirtz is exempt from this problem. But yeah, more villains just need to lie. Especially in games like D&D. Oh, I finished Atomfall as well recently. What was that, like a week and a half of playing? It did not take too long, but it was quite enjoyable. I loved the British aspect. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, I got to an ending. I don't want to talk about the ending at this point because it is spoilers, and I want to talk to Tylee about it as well. But I'm quite happy with my ending. There was lots of twists and turns that led me there. And I even surprised myself with some of my choices. I saw a video essay title because I didn't watch the video. I know, that's bad. And I don't entirely know where I was going with this point. So, that was my whole point. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Oh, hello. Why did you stop zooming? Oh, that's very weird. I'm pushing buttons to change my little facial expression, and it was making my whole art program go, not all that helpful. Should I watch these recordings back before I put them live? I really don't enjoy listening to myself. Or should I think about asking someone for help? That might be another route. They'd have to be fairly focused though. Not like super focused, just keep an eye on things, make sure everything works, and I don't really know actually what they would have to do. I didn't really think about this. I know. I will talk to someone. I know the perfect someone, perfect partner. And if she doesn't want to do it, that's fine as well. She has a lot on her plate already. We don't need to be adding extra, unless she wants to. I continued this conversation in my head, and I got to the point where I was saying to myself, to you, but to myself, that if all things go super well, I might be able to get an apprenticeship in digital marketing somewhere, which would be really cool. That would be part of like a level 3 diploma type thing, and that might help me get into work. I'm not gonna lie, the idea of going back into work is worrisome. I really struggle with work, and my history of maintaining a job is poor, mostly due to mental health problems, which may simply stem from something like ADHD, but it may have something to do with my sleeping issues, as well as anxiety. That one's always fun. So I think if I can work, I should work, and I'd want to work, and that'd be great. But my experiences have made me worry about being in work. Thank gosh I currently receive PIP, because while I do, that gives me the extra flexibility, confidence, and security to get on with the training. That can hopefully get me somewhere useful. And no, I'm not saying that for PIP assessment's sake. Like they'll ever watch one of these. My partner is gonna love what I'm about to say. I really want to play some Stardew Valley. I'm in the mood for it. What I'd really like to do is make my own game. But I have about 20 million ideas for games, and absolutely no motivation, or skills, or teams. But it would be really cool. how is that looking? Mind your eyes, gonna flash the colours away. I think that's gone where I want it to. Lovely. Cool. Now I'm going to do the one behind. The back view of the character. And this shouldn't take me too long. I wonder if we're going to get colour today. Or if I'm going to say that I'll do it in the week and then forget. Ideally, I want that feedback from the course so that I can carry on. Because I'm fairly positive that there'll be something I need to change, something I need to edit, something I need to do. And I want my energy and mindset to still be towards doing the course. If I pivot now to doing something else, which I also really want to do, I want to get on with crochet, I want to get on with setting up my commissions. If I pivot my energy away, I don't know that I'm going to have the mental facilities to finish the course. Which is absolutely bananas to say, considering how close I am. But I was finding the course very, very difficult towards, like, finishing my last unit. My focus, my energy had all completely dissipated. I was powering myself with the focus providing power of energy drinks. Which, contrary to their name, do not give me any energy whatsoever. Oh, come on. Nearly there. I found that the best way to give myself like a temporary boost of energy is to have a lot of sugar. And then I'm hypothetically bouncing off the walls. And when I was younger, having a lot of sugar would make me almost literally be bouncing off the walls. I know Tylee still has a story about that. I think next week I will advertise that I'm going to be streaming. I might get a different crowd. Only advertise on Cheesy, to be honest. Burn after reading and all that. But honestly, I'm hoping that I'm not streaming in the middle of the night for too long. Mostly because I kind of like that routine of like streaming for Friday, having the house to myself for a couple hours. Nope, looks like some AI has designed these fingers. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. Good enough. Go the other way. What was I saying? Oh, but even though I want to do more Friday streams again, I am going to make sure to take 1 week off every month, so that I can actually go to mother-in-law's and hang out with family. Because I need to spend more time with the family. They don't have a huge amount of fun over there. I don't think anyone needs to hear about surgeries and medical procedures while they're eating their food. And yet, that is what happens. And mother-in-law is not particularly sensitive to people's distress. I kind of recall there was one time she was talking about eye surgery, and I was not having a good time. I did not want to hear about any of the details, and she was going into all the details, so I explicitly asked her to stop twice, and she continued regardless, and there was no stopping her. So I basically tuned myself out. Okay, I think legally speaking, this is a hand. If you don't look at it properly. I've got a note on my page. It says, track and field athletes for reference. I think what I'm going to do with that is ignore it for this reference sheet, but I would love to give like a real go of the musculature of an athlete and put it to Raven's body. Because I think of all my characters, she is best suited for that. I'm thinking in my head, the Olympics are a theoretically even field. The best athletes in the world compete against the best athletes in the world. If you have a disability, then you enter into the Paralympics, where the best disabled athletes in the world compete against the best disabled athletes in the world, on slightly more even ground than going up against fully able athletes. And I kind of wonder, for something like shooting, would it matter if they were in a wheelchair? Could a wheelchair user go to the Olympics on the shooting range? Or do they still literally need to stand up to aim at the target? Or, for Raven's case, would she count as disabled and be able to go into the blind or partially sighted Paralympics in fencing? I don't think... Well, I don't know, to be honest. Because she sees things in a different way. And this is true of many of the characters in, like, my world, in my creations. Not that they're necessarily superhuman, but that superhuman magic, enhanced abilities, all of that jazz happens throughout, like, my created world's world. What would that even mean for sporting events? What does fairness look like when one person is a literal bull up against a mouse, for example? Or would you have to categorize it by weight? Would you have to categorize it by species? How does that work for half species? We're kind of lucky that there's basically only humans that can compete in the Olympics. And when I say basically only humans, I mean literally only humans. It's not like we have dogs joining in the Olympics. Maybe they should bring in some of the more exotic sports. Bring in dog handling or falconry. That'd be fun to watch. Yeah, what is fairness and equality in a world and a society where you are naturally born with different traits to other people? And not just you are naturally born, but your parents and your children, your siblings, your extended family. Bloodhounds have incredible sense of smells, and bats have incredible hearing. What is fairness and equality when you have all these creatures, these anthros, and all their abilities, but they're being outperformed in almost every metric by great apes, who may not be stronger, who may not be faster, who may not be better sighted or anything like that, but they have the brain capacity, the skills to develop tools and ingenious ways of doing things that other furries wouldn't have ever thought of. Because I think in a world where furries exist like Raven, where foxes do have good hearing, do have good sight, do have good smells, I think you can't discount the great apes. I think they would still have like the enhanced intelligence, and therefore compounded onto the humanoid forms, that would make them really intelligent, hyper intelligent, at least in principle. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to save document while it's all freezing up. I wonder what the growing looks like. I think I've already said that. I'm on loop, which means I'm coming towards the end. Okay, the tail is still going to be kept sort of disconnected. With a nice big X in the middle of it. Where is Bone? Bone be about here. Yep, I don't think we're going to get to colouring this week. I think I will save that for next time. And then also going to get some of these poses sketched out better. I found the image for this, and it's still a really gorgeous picture. I just cannot show it. It is not safe for streaming. It is basically this pose. It looks like this. It's just not as covered as Raven typically is. Okay, that was a really bad smiley face. That's a bit better. Be nice to be able to see a full preview, because I have to close so many windows that I can't see what I'm doing at the moment. And trying to zoom in and out rapidly to have a better look is, well, as you can see, not smooth. So I'm just making do. You ever felt the back of your knee? It is a horrible feeling, in my opinion. Makes me feel all kinds of weird. No quagmire jokes, please. You can save that for Tunray pictures. No. We're so close. Behave. How many lines have I got left? You know what? I'm not going to end the stream until I finish this line work. The only sensible thing to do at this point. I have no intention of leaving like 3 lines left to do for future me. Future me isn't going to know what to do with that. How are we doing? Okay, I've got to get in the markings and then I'll say my goodbyes. I think the stream has gone pretty well today. It hasn't tried to explode in my face. Maybe I won't make a boxing thumbnail. Oh! That might be it. Let's take away the sketch work. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. Without being crass, I really think there should be potentially be a line there. Although I can't zoom in and out right now, so you're just going to have to assume you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, save. And looking at the camera with my little avatar, which hasn't moved at all. I do want to get my hands on the next Fiado tube thing, but I think I'm gonna have to stick with this character for a while, even when that comes out. Just because I think I really need to work on getting a computer, which I'm quite excited to do actually. And I might change my goals and try and make it happen sooner. Or, okay, hear me out. Without going into actual debt, I'll be in debt to myself basically. I could, with a couple of commissions, get the computer sooner rather than later, and then continue the funds to sort of go back into my savings, and that should let me have a beefier computer that can handle all the streaming and hopefully have a more enjoyable experience for me. But that's all a theory. A streaming theory. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next week. These are still going to be posted on Saturday evenings. So thank you if you have been watching. Goodbye. Johnny.